Give us a clap.
My name is Deven Craige. I played bass in Japanese Breakfast.
Tell me about your approach to the bass, your technique, and your playing style.
I am self-taught. When I was, 14 or 15, got my first bass, and everyone played guitar that I knew, and I figured the easiest way to get into a band was to play bass. And yeah, so I kind of grew up listening to punk and hardcore kind of stuff, and just reading tabs and slowly learning how to play by ear.
What was the first bass that you had?
It was I couldn't even tell you the model name, but it was like a Rogue, like a black Rogue. Yeah, that my parents got me. I only just got rid of that. It was just in my basement collecting dust for the last 15 years, I guess. The last show I did with it, I only brought it to the show. I was playing a metal band at the time, and I only brought it to the show because I knew I was gonna destroy it, basically. So at the end of the set, I just did the kind of Chris Novoselic and just threw it in the air and walked away and just let it fall. I got a giant crack down the middle of it to never be played again.
Yeah.
I lugged that thing between 5 different houses after I stopped playing it. I don't know why I held on to it for so long. And then the first bass I bought with my own money was a made in Mexico Fender Jazz.
Can you talk more about being left-handed and what that experience was like, both being self-taught and starting out, and then kind of continuing both from a playing standpoint and also then a gear standpoint?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely a frustrating experience. If you want to, as I got older and kind of could be able to afford to buy my own instruments, it's much harder to find what you'd like. You really have to find yourself settling a lot. When you're writing songs with band members, trying to transpose things upside down when you're looking at other people's playing and things like that was, it probably helped me become a better musician. It really forced me to learn, for sure. Even to this day, I mean, I had to get this custom made to find a short scale bass that I wanted and sounded good to me. Yeah.
As a person of taller stature, what has the transition from long scale to short scale been like for you?
It's night and day. I mean, I really feel I spent, before I got this guy, I've been playing a P bass, standard rock bass for the last 8 or 9 years. So yeah, I mean, when I got this guy, I mean, it just felt like I was I had a sports car or whatever. Yeah, just so much easier to move up and down the neck, and it took me a minute to get used to it, for sure. I was definitely first couple shows going past some notes there that I'm used to being down here that are no longer that far down.
Sure.
But even you can kind of see here, I really kind of worn down the paint here, because with the P bass, I'm just used to playing lower down, below the pickups.
Right.
It's kind of the sweet spot for that, and it took me a while to kind of start adjusting my arm position, because the sweet spot for this guy with the B90 is just right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. I know you said earlier that this is what you mainly use now, but are there other longer scale or just other basses in your arsenal that you go to for specific things? Or?
As of recently, I really have only been using this.
Yeah.
But there's a few songs in our set where sometimes I'll switch back to the P. There's a couple of heavy songs. I mean, heavy for Japanese Breakfast, but heavy songs that it's a little better suited to, or if I do there's some kind of weird longer slides that I kind of like to have the extra neck length. But yeah, I mean, basically the last year I haven't touched anything other than this.
Yeah. What are your favorite pedals to use?
I feel like I have quite a lot of pedals for maybe the average bass player. I use a Earthquaker special cranker. It's an overdrive It's like kind of two different kind of modes on there that I use like quite often throughout our set, that I'm constantly like going down. Like the only downside of that pedal is that there's not like, I can't save a million presets because I am going down and like, because it can do so much.
Yeah.
So that gets used a lot. And then I use a Electro Harmonics Pog too, like the multi-octave guy. We have a couple like songs that have kind of long ambient drones that like really helps like get the low end out, which is great for this, because this like the sustain on this coupled with Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor that I use is like, I mean, and I could just do this sit here forever for the note to go away when it doesn't. Which is great.
Definitely. What about like amps?
I'm an Ampeg man. The classic 810 SVT VR. I'll lug that thing around until my back goes out.
I feel like there are a couple other folks that artists that are Midwestern fiends who did the P bass to Midwestern kind of journey, I guess I'll say.
I mean it sounds really kind of night and day to me. I think largely because of the kind of strings I use. I have like the bellas on these, and like a little bit of a thicker gauge, so it weirdly kind of sounds a little more like thicker than the P does, which is like something I didn't really notice until I had played this for a long time, and then like went back to the P like at sound check or something, and kind of was like, oh wow, this sounds weirdly less powerful. If that makes sense. I mean, I'd heard this described as kind of like a good P substitute, but I think it's its own separate like character.
Is there a favorite bass line that you like every show with Japanese Breakfast you're like, all right, can't wait to get to this song to play this one?
There's a song called Bodies of Blade that I really like. That's probably my favorite song in the set to play. It's just like I always like that moment in the set because it's like a kind of a fun little thing to do, and then there's like a crazy like arpeggiating keyboard going on over top of it, and that's like a big one I like. And then I like there's another song called Savage Good Boy that is a kind of like one of the more rockin' ones. I use this like Walrus era's fuzz pedal that I have like kind of super cranked and won't sound very good without it, but I think I do like kind of a cool like a harmonic thing like that, and just like so that's like a fun way to start the song, just like ripping super loud with that, and then the rest is just like kind of a fun rock song. Because another thing I like about this, like when there's a couple songs that are like real quiet, kind of like ballady type vibes. So just like kill the tone completely, just have that really kind of dull sound, and then put a little reverb on, and that, I don't know, it just sounds so like it just sounds so smooth.
In addition to playing bass, you're also the tour manager for Japanese Breakfast. How do you handle both roles without losing your mind?
It's close sometimes.
Yeah.
We have like a great team. You know, we have a lot of good support staff and techs and stuff like that that can help with some of the day-to-day stuff. But yeah, I mean, I really like doing it. It keeps me busy and on point, and you know, I just have to try and focus and make sure I can carve out time to like also be a band member as well, and make sure I put on a good show, which can be tough sometimes, but yeah, it's definitely a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Were you just like, oh, well, it makes the most sense for me to do this? Or
Yeah, so I have like Michelle and I used to play, the singer Japanese Breakfast, and I used to play in bands together. And I always kind of just did that role in the bands I was in. And yeah, after Michelle put out the first record, she was like growing the band a little bit, and then asked me to come join the band, and it was kind of just a natural thing that I would just then do the TM stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because I had just done it in the past, and that's what I had been doing touring wise before I joined Japanese Breakfast, like more heavily like just tour managing. So when the opportunity came to still TM but also play in the band, I jumped right to it.
What's like a favorite thing about tour managing?
It's like nice to kind of, I'm like kind of a little bit of a control freak, so it's like kind of nice to be in charge of a show. It's very fulfilling to do all the work that you got to do to make the show happen, and then get to see in front of your eyes the actual thing take place and it go off without a hitch.
Yeah.
Is like like a nice feeling.
Yeah. Do you or the band collectively have kind of like a pre-show ritual that you do, or kind of like a routine that?
Yeah, I mean, nothing super crazy. Everyone's just usually pretty chill before the show. Like probably 10 minutes before the show, everyone, band and crew, huddles up, jumps up and down, yells "Don't fuck it up," and then we go our separate ways. And yeah, I try and take like a little moment to myself, just kind of take off the TM hat and put on the bass player hat and kind of just take a second to get ready for the show. But yeah.
Do you have any superstitions?
Oh man, when I played sports, I very much was like I don't wash my jersey. Like if we're winning, yeah.
Has anything happened on tour or during a show that like has no apparent explanation in a paranormal sense?
Oh boy, I mean, I want to say our bus catching on fire, but I don't think that was a demon.
Continuing on with that theme, what scares you the most?
Oh, horses. Yeah, terrifying creatures.
What excites you the most?
I'm just gonna say like playoff football.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you believe the government is hiding UFOs from the American people?
No.
Cool. Cheez-Its or goldfish?
I was literally faced with this exact question this morning when I was offered either Cheez-Its or goldfish, and I went with goldfish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to tell future musicians, upcoming, young, kids, teens? I guess that's getting a little specific, but people down the line.
Anything to the children?
Yeah, anything for the children.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as someone who is taught myself how to play, I think that's super cool and valuable, but also absolutely take lessons. A thing that being self-taught really helped me to develop early on was learning how to play by ear. I think that's like just super valuable. Just like being in my room and like listening to the same like Misfits song over and over again until I learned how to play it, even though, it's just this up and down the whole time. Don't be afraid to just fuck around and do something. You don't need to be like crazy for the sake of being crazy, if that makes sense, as far as your playing style. Like really less is more kind of a vibe, which I mean, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, I feel like.